on the spot. We get caught up on the new releases coming to store shelves and the latest hitting Wii Shop Channel. Shaun McInnis interviews Shannon Elizabeth. We get an exclusive look at MMA Supremacy, a preview of Dead Space 2, and a lengthy demo of Little Big Planet 2. Today on the spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Today on the Spot. I'm your host, Chris Waters, joined in the co-host chair by Caro. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Here on the first novelty date of 2011.
Yeah, we got 5 ones in this date all in a row.
It's not going to be the best novelty date. If those of you looking ahead to November, I mean, that's going to be something else.
Yeah.
But novelty was the theme of last week at CES. All sorts of new tech coming out of there.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of game news, but what was a highlight for you?
Well, easily for me, the highlight of the show was Steve Ballmer demonstrating the miraculous possibilities of eyebrow tracking with Kinect. You know, that is, they showed how these talk shows and everything. My friends and I are just going to go in there, use Kinect to like wiggle our eyebrows at each other. It's going to be amazing.
It'll be like talking to each other and making funny faces at the same time.
The possibilities are endless.
Oh man, I mean, the future is bright indeed, folks. But for more on what's happening now in the present, it's the GameSpot news team with the latest headlines.
Hey everybody, it's your GameSpot news update for Tuesday, January 11th. I'm Tor Thorson. Just over a month after it was released worldwide on December 7th, World of Warcraft Cataclysm has set another record. Developer-publisher Blizzard Entertainment announced this morning that the third expansion for the massively multiplayer role-playing game has sold 4.7 million units during its first month of release, 3.3 million of which were scooped up on the first day. Currently, World of Warcraft has more than 12 million subscribers worldwide. According to Blizzard's internal sales figures, Cataclysm has set a new sales record for the company, eclipsing the prior record holder, 2008's Wrath of the Lich King. The latest expansion raises the game's level cap to 85 from 80, with this titular disaster reworking much of World of Warcraft's existing world as well as adding several new areas. Following unconfirmed reports last week, today Apple made it official. The iPhone is coming to Verizon. In a joint statement, the electronics giant and cell phone carrier announced that starting Thursday, February 10th, the coveted handheld will be available on the latter's network. 2 versions of the iPhone 4, a $200 16GB model and a $300 32GB model, will initially be offered with a 2-year service contract. Both models will be a black with a white version to follow in the coming months. The Verizon iPhone 4 will use the carrier's CDMA network, not the GSM standard used by AT&T iPhones. As a result, the antenna with the handheld was redesigned, forcing the ring-your-mute switch to be smoothed down slightly, meaning the existing iPhone cases and bumpers won't fit. Well, that's it, your GameSpot news update for Tuesday, January 11th. For more headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
Now, as is our custom, once the talk of the news of the day is finished, let's talk about new releases, because there's a big one coming out for those MMO types out there. People
particularly the ones who enjoy like wearing tights, because this week's is DC Universe Online.
Which is all of them.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that.
Well, right. Who doesn't enjoy that?
DC Universe Online, okay, so superhero, creative villain, Kapam, plow.
Obviously not a concept that we haven't seen before in games like City of Heroes and stuff.
Sure.
But it'll be exciting to see what they do with, getting in the big guns like Superman and Batman and having that whole push behind it.
Yeah, it'll be good. How does your superhero get to interact with them, and do I get to create my gecko wall climbing powers again? Don't say Spider-Man, it's a Gecko Man.
And now here's a look at this week's other new releases.
This week in new releases. Around this time last year, the gaming industry saw a glut of big-budget titles that missed or dodged the holiday release window, including the likes of Darksiders, Bayonetta, and Army of Two: The 40th Day. This year is shaping up to be a bit less front-loaded, though it does still have a few potential hits arriving during the second full week of 2011. Perhaps the biggest launch this week is DC Universe Online from Sony Online Entertainment and Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. The PC and PlayStation 3 game lets players create their crime fighter or villain, and because it's set in the DC universe, place them in locales, including Superman's Metropolis and Batman's Gotham City. Also, a range of heroes and villains from the comic book publisher's immense stable will lend their presence to the game. Handheld gamers have a number of options this week. On the DS, fans of Disney's Square Enix crossover series Kingdom Hearts can pick up Recoded, which puts you in the journal that Jiminy Cricket kept of their previous adventures. Also, fans of Capcom's Ace Attorney series may be interested in Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, an investigative adventure game from Shu Takumi. As for the PSP offerings, NIS America returns with its Infernal Penguin Brigade and Prinny 2 Dawn of Operation Panties, dude. A spin-off of the Disgaea franchise, Prinny is an action platformer that the developer billed as the most challenging side-scrolling action game ever. Its predecessor follows in those footsteps, taking place after the original, and telling the story of Netherworld Overlord Etna's missing panties. For further details on the week's games, visit GameSpot's new releases page. Release dates are based on retail listings and are subject to change.
Next up, from the folks at Nintendo and video editor extraordinaire Aaron Sampson, we have This Week on the Wii Shop Channel.
This week on Wii Shop Channel, in WiiWare, Squishy Goodness is back in Jelly Car 2. Wobble your way through 30 levels in single player, or go head-to-head or co-op in multiplayer flag, gems, and tether modes. Post high scores, best times, and longest jumps in the Hall of Fame. From car challenge courses to brick breaking comes Soccer BASHI. Destroy defender blocks and score goals to win. Play through 90 levels including arcade and customizable tournaments, or take advantage of the built-in game editor that offers unlimited level design possibilities. Finally in WiiWare, get your balance on in the Art of Balance demo. Your days of piling rocks at the beach are over. Grab your Wii Remote and build stacks in this physics-based puzzler. The game now features a dedicated 2-player split-screen versus mode for extra fun. In Virtual Console, get in some lance chucking in Ghosts and Goblins. While you're waiting to fight with Arthur in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 next month, get in some practice in this Smash arcade hit from 1985. Help Arthur defeat hordes of monsters in his attempt to rescue the princess, but beware, if you get hit, you'll be the only knight around for miles fighting in his underwear. Then continue your journey through the past in XX's. A retro classic from Capcom's arcade lineup in 1985, XX's is a vertically scrolling shooter that will bring back memories if you're old enough. Dodge bullets, collect fruit, and go for high scores in one furious sci-fi insectoid shoot-'em-up. In Nintendo DSiWare, think you might end up an old cat lady? Get an early start with PETZ CATZ Family. Care for and bond with a whole family of adorable cats. Play fun games with them, give them lots of love, and watch them grow. Discover their unique talents and personalities and teach them tricks like running through obstacle courses and walking down a fashion runway. When you're done with cats, try your hand at flowers in Surfacer Plus. Attempt to cover the screen in white flowers while avoiding marbles. Finally this week, check out EJ Puzzles Hooked. Take control of a fishing boat and search the waters for fresh fish. Be careful to catch them in the right order or you'll break your line. That's all the time we have, folks. Join us next week for more This Week on Wii Shop Channel.
So that's a look at what's new this week on the Wii Shop Channel. Now, Chris, I understand that Shannon Elizabeth, I think she was in that American Pie film, right? And
Films,
the films,
plural,
right,
I believe.
Of course, no.
I mean to say.
Fantastic cinema series, and she's now associated with a poker game that's coming out.
That is accurate. Shannon Elizabeth, total like poker shark.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a term, but card shark, specifically in the realm of poker.
Yeah.
Now working to promote Full House Poker, upcoming poker video game. Shaun McInnis had the chance to talk with her, and here's the result: an interview.
Hey everybody, Shaun McInnis here at CES 2011, and about 6 hours ago my boss asked me, Shaun, how would you like to interview Shannon Elizabeth? And well, here I am. Shannon, what brings you to Las Vegas?
I am out here for Xbox. They are unveiling a bunch of new games under their House Party title, and right now we are out there playing Full House Poker.
Nice. So you are, not a lot of people know this, you are quite a poker expert. How did you get involved in poker?
You know, I originally just learned how to play to raise money for my charity. So, I mean, that was probably 7 years ago now, 7 or 8 years ago. And I'm really competitive, and I've been learning the game, and I've just been playing ever since.
How's your reputation on the poker circuit? I imagine a lot of those other players look at you and think, oh, she's a celebrity, she can't be that good. And then I'm sure you immediately go on to win the entire pot.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It totally depends on what crowd it is. You know, if I'm playing with all the internet kids, I don't stand a chance. You know, they don't think anything of me. They want me at their table. You know, and if I'm playing with people that have never played with me, that don't play regularly, for some reason, I think I have a reputation of being aggressive and bluffing a lot, and I don't even know how I got that reputation.
Nice. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that I am not much of a poker expert. I readily admit that. So, when somebody like me goes and downloads the game, what sort of tips and advice do you have to offer to make sure that I try to minimize how badly I lose?
You've really got to know what your starting hands are, what a good starting hand is, and you have to know the difference between a good starting hand in one position versus another. I think position's really important, and not enough people teach position. Because I might tell you, never play this hand unless you're on the button and it folds to you, and then I'll tell you to raise with that hand. So it's little things like that you have to start out with learning.
Nice, and I've got one more question for you, Shannon. If you could go back and look at your entire filmography, all the movies that you've been in, and you could turn one of those into a video game, which one would it be?
Oh boy, I think Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back would be a good video game.
That would make an excellent video game. Personally, my girlfriend and I watch Love Actually every Christmas season, so I don't know what kind of game you would turn that into, but I think it would make a good one.
That would be a lot of fun. I know people love that movie, so yeah, I don't know. I just thought the other one, because there was like bank robberies. There's all these things going on, stealing the diamonds and cat suits, and it just seemed like one of those. There's a lot of fight sequences.
You can't go wrong with fight sequences and cat suits as far as I'm concerned.
Right? I mean, why not? I think it would be a lot of fun.
All right, Shannon, well, I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for asking or letting me ask you a few questions.
Of course. Good luck out there at the poker tables.
All right, thanks a lot. There you guys have it. Shannon Elizabeth. What more could you want?
And I hope you folks enjoyed that interview from Shaunanon, as we've taken to calling them here in the GameSpot offices. Now, up next, we've got something special here. Every once in a while, we get the pleasure and the privilege to host some world-exclusive stuff here on Today on the Spot. And this is one of those times. We have a world-exclusive trailer for a new fighting game called MMA Supremacy. Without further ado, here it is.
That was a look at MMA Supremacy. We will have a demo of that game here on Thursday's show. And Chris, speaking of men in tights just clobbering each other,
it's a theme.
Yes, indeed. This week we've got a lot of exciting stuff happening with Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
That's right. Later this month, the GameSpot Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds Showdown Tournament Extravaganza. We're working on the name, but there's going to be a huge 64-player tournament here in the GameSpot offices, fighting it out on January 27th. And anybody can join?
Yeah, if people want to get in on this action, they can visit our GameSpot community and contact Jody Robinson, or they can visit CapcomUnity.com, which is having a contest as well, where they're encouraging people to make videos and talk about some of their enthusiasm for the game.
Talk up their fighting skills.
Yeah.
And even if you're not going to be able to make it here to compete in the tournament, or like me, you just don't have the chops, starting the day after the tournament, January 28th, we'll be airing a 3-part series with all the highlights, all the action, and all the men in tights fighting each other for you folks at home to enjoy. It's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
Now, on with the show, and our next preview is Dead Space 2. This is going to be full of necromorphs, strategic dismemberment, and many other things that make Chris sleep poorly at night. Enjoy.
If there's one guy out there that you shouldn't be jealous of, it's Isaac Clarke. After surviving a necromorph onslaught and some serious girlfriend issues in the original Dead Space, the heroic engineer is back at it in Dead Space 2. This time he's stuck on Titan, one of Saturn's moons, where he's once again up against the zombified aliens that terrorized him in the first game. Moving from an infested mining ship to an outer space metropolis means some big changes for Dead Space 2. Gone are the narrow gray and brown corridors of the first game. Now, you'll be trekking through the sprawl, visiting tram stations, churches, and other remnants of civilization gone awry. Environments are also more interactive now, giving you the chance to destroy objects and pick them up for use as weapons using your telekinesis powers. New weapons include the Javelin, a gun that lets you pin enemies to walls, as well as the Pulse Rifle, which uses a grenade launcher as the alternate fire. To go along with these new weapons are some new abilities, like free floating through zero-G environments and the ability to actually talk and show your face once in a while. But don't be too envious, because Isaac still has to deal with all those necromorphs, including a swarm of zombie babies known as the Pack, and a number of other gruesome new enemies that crawl, run, and explode in terrifying new ways. Likewise, the environment design and atmosphere looks every bit as creepy as the first game, all with the added effect of Isaac slipping further into insanity. Dark corners, strange visions, eerie shadows. It's the stuff nightmares are made of, and Dead Space 2 has got it in spades. Finally, it's also worth mentioning that Dead Space 2 will add multiplayer in the form of various human versus necromorph scenarios. It'll be your first chance to see what it's like controlling one of these alien zombies, and it looks like they play quite a lot differently from their human counterparts. Whether you're on Team Isaac or Team Necromorph, you can expect Dead Space 2 to arrive on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC on January 25th.
Well, folks, it's time for our daily demo, and I've got Justin Calvert here joining me in the studio, along with Little Big Planet 2. Justin, you and Sackboy are going to take us on a little tour here?
We are, yeah. As you can see, we've got the full retail version in, and I started playing it over the weekend. I've beaten the story mode now, which is about 50 levels, all expertly crafted by Media Molecule.
All right.
So first I'm going to show a couple of those, and these are from fairly early on in the story mode. I think they're from the third of the 6 or 7 worlds. Mm-hmm. And these, I've kind of picked these out because they show off some of the new features in the game.
Okay.
So first up, there's these kind of bounce pads.
Whoa, there you go, bouncing. Doing some nice little flips.
Yeah.
You got
and
style.
Then the guys I'm rescuing here are sackbots.
Sackbots.
So these are little NPCs, and right now in this level they're programmed to follow me around, and so my job is to kind of
and give you big adoring eyes.
Yeah, so I have to kind of lead them to safety. But there are other levels. There's one in this same world where they're actually, it's the exact opposite. They're like terrified of you. And so they will, rather than following you around, they'll just do anything they can to get as far away from you as they possibly can.
What do their eyes then take on? Just look of abject horror?
Yeah, they have more like little yellow warning triangles in their eyes or something like that.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And do you have to herd them then in that? Or?
Yeah, you totally have to herd them to get them to safety. It's pretty cool.
Cool. And so you're gathering them as you go and leading them along, you're not afraid to go off on your own here, but then little switches and whatnot.
Yeah, so I'm going to flip this switch and then they can be reunited.
So Sackbots are, like everything in Little Big Planet 2, not just in the levels that Media Molecule has created, but you can put them in the levels you create.
Yeah, you can totally, customize them, and you can put them in your level. You can change everything from their size to their behavior. And then their appearance can be, you can use all of the costumes and accessories and everything that you've got for your own Sackboy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I wanted to, I'm playing as a little spaceman right now. I could have them all be zombies, or they could all be spacemen, or any outfit that you downloaded.
Nice.
And actually, I should point out, I guess, that everything from Little Big Planet 1 carries into Big Planet 2. Like when you boot up the game for the first time. If you have a Little Big Planet 1 save on your console, it'll give you the option to just import all of that. And
so like some of your outfits, your stickers, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, all of your outfits, your stickers, my awful level that I made from Little Big Planet 1.
It lives on.
I killed it now, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
a mercy to all Little Big Planet 2 players.
Yeah, but yeah, so everything you had in Little Big Planet 1 is just, and that includes like paid DLC and everything as well, like all the Metal Gear stuff and everything.
Oh, great.
Is all here in Little Big Planet 2 now if you've downloaded it.
Okay.
So yeah, so this level, you know, it's just kind of, it keeps going like this. I'm just trying to get all these guys to safety.
You don't just want to like give them your autograph and be done with it? So Sackbots are one of the new things. Now, there's some of these other levels are going to highlight a couple other new things.
Yeah, I'll go to another one now. So yeah, so there's a few, there's power-ups are a big new thing now, I guess. So
Okay.
I'm going to see one of those in this level. So there's a grappling hook, which you can use to grab onto any grabbable surface, but obviously at range, and then you swing from it.
Okay.
One of my favorites is the Creatonator, which is a helmet that fires. It can either fire like water or fire or something, or you can have it fire any object that you want it to. So there's one really cool level where it's just firing these giant cakes.
Oh, that's right.
You can use them both as like a kind of projectile just for hurting enemies, but also as like they kind of stick to surfaces and use them as stepping stones.
Yeah, I remember you showing us that they were sticking to surfaces. They were weighting down platforms.
Yeah.
They were surprisingly versatile cakes.
Yeah, they were really
I gotta
good.
say.
And then there's this one, which I think is called the Grabinator, and it's a big pair of gloves that lets me pick up things I couldn't normally pick up. So that includes just things that are heavier than I would normally be able to. But also, so you know, these are
horribly deadly bombs.
These are like proximity mine. You know what? That's gonna blow up if I now try and pick it up again, I think. And okay, I'll just try it.
Oh.
Okay. Whoop. Just keep pushing my luck here.
Now you're really just showing off.
So there we go. Yeah. So now, so I can pick up bombs and throw them, which is, you know, definitely a new thing. These ones. So that's a timed explosive. So,
Okay. Yeah, I saw you get blown up by one of those earlier.
Yeah, but yeah, so these are the kinds of things that in Little Big Planet 1 are just instant death the second you get too close to them. But now, you know,
You have some hope of survival.
Yeah.
Provided you can grab them
as you
properly.
mentioned, you know, you can use all this stuff in your own level design as well, which is where some of the best fun is to be had.
I'm picturing one in which someone is just, you know, it's a two-player battle and I'm firing those bombs at you from my hat of doom and you're trying to catch them.
Yeah, there's no reason you couldn't make that exact level. And they have a bunch, as you play through the story, you actually unlock a lot of pretty cool like 2-player and even 4-player like versus games. There's like a Robotron clone. There's even one that's kind of like Snake, where you're riding on a snake and you can eat each other's tails as you're riding around and stuff.
That sounds delightful.
It's really cool.
Oh, and here you're hanging onto the bomb assembly line.
Yeah.
Sackboy is nothing if not daring.
He certainly is. So that's that level. And now I'm going to show you the level that I've been working on.
Oh yeah? Excellent.
I spent a good chunk of the weekend working on this one, and it's not finished. So
Little caveat.
You know, it's alpha, pre-alpha even. But yeah.
And a little context for you folks at home, Justin created a level in Little Big Planet that reached legendary status in the office as like impossibly difficult.
Yeah, it did.
Vexing.
It actually, I checked on it, and more people took the time to comment on it and tell me how bad it was than ever finished it. Like in the 2 years, like more than 2 years that level was live, I think 16 people beat it.
16 and
that includes me.
That includes you a couple times.
Yeah, so this is the level I'm working on here. You can see this is, well actually you can't really see what type of game it is, but you get it's like a retro arcade look that I've gone for, using one of the new materials, which is this metal that has a neon edge to it.
Stylish.
Here you can see, this is another new material. This is a hologram, and you can kind of use it as just like Scotch tape or something, where you can just have it. So I've got like a sensor on there.
Okay.
So when I get close to that, it's going to trigger this checkpoint.
Oh, so when you sort of pass that point in the level, it creates an event.
Yeah, it's like a trigger.
Okay.
So yeah, and you could, I mean, actually, you know what I was going to show?
That's interesting how you're changing the perspective too. You're sort of changing your camera
the
angle.
thing I was going to show, I thought I had one open, but yeah, here we go. So here, this is a very simple one, but So this is a really small object, and I needed to tell it to do a couple of different things.
Okay.
So actually, I only have one chip on here, but this is basically a microchip, and you can attach this to any object, and then it just gives you this really big space to work on. So you can put all your kind of logic things on here. So the only thing I've got on here actually is a randomizer,
which means that the object is attached to this little laser.
Yeah.
in the
So this
corner.
randomizer is feeding into this, and the microchip is attached to an emitter, which is firing projectiles. So I've used the randomizer to just make it so that it fires a steady stream of projectiles, but it turns off at random intervals.
Okay.
And it doesn't stay on or off for the exact same amount of time every time. But anyway.
There's no learning the pattern here.
No,
in
yeah,
this
you
level.
can't, yeah. I mean, you'll figure out that when they turn off, they stay off for at least like a few seconds.
Give you a window.
They give you a window.
Well, let's see this thing in action.
Yeah, so here we go. So straight, I've got this little camera angle change and some basic instruction here. It's just like, the gist is that this is Lunar Lander, and this ship is extremely fragile.
One hit from any of these projectiles.
Anything, yeah, or the land, or the landscape. So I've got some points here to collect. I got to try and concentrate here, because this level, I'm not in the habit of making easy levels.
That is true, but at least this one.
But this one is at least manageable.
Yeah.
And so see, I touched that a little bit. The bottoms of the feet have little tiny pieces of wood on them, so that you can actually land the thing
Without exploding.
So as a result, the bottoms of those feet are somewhat resistant.
Give you a slight amount of leeway there.
Yeah. So here we go.
Now you can sort of see.
Whoa.
A bold move.
Okay.
Doesn't pay off.
Foolish.
Slammed into the ceiling, exploded. So you also created this vehicle. You created the dimensions of this
vehicle.
ship.
Yeah, this is just like it's just a piece of metal, the same metal that's used to create the landscape, with an engine on it, and then a new
using locally harvested materials in your construction.
And then the thing you might have noticed, Sackboy's actually. Oh, jeez. So Sackboy's, you can just see where there's that little D-pad on the ship.
Yes.
So that's a new thing as well, called a controlinator. And basically, once Sackboy sits in there, you can then use that to have your sticks on your controller control any object that thing is stuck to, or even something remotely.
Which is so you can, in this case, you're controlling the thruster and the.
So using the controlinator, I've mapped different controls to different things. So basically, I've just said, okay, the left stick is going to rotate my ship, and the X button is going to control my thruster, and then, as you see here, the triangle button is so I can get out. So I can actually get out and explore on foot.
Explore, take a little.
And there are some
here.
points and things to find when you're on foot.
Don't want to reveal all your secrets.
Yeah, I don't want to give all my secrets away. Whoops. Oh, man. But yeah, and just honestly, like, just figuring out how to have these checkpoints so that when you come out, like, a new ship appears for you and that kind of thing. That it took me a little while to figure that stuff out. And
Took a few iterations of your level.
Yeah, and I had, like, one of the things that happened was for a while my ship would blow up, but the engine wouldn't, and so the engine would still be this physical thing on the landscape that was, and it would get in the way sometimes because it would land where I need the ship to respawn, and then the ship would respawn, touch the engine, and blow up.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. So this is.
Oh, and you've got one on the rotating platform there. I see.
Yeah, you can see here. There's a bit of, I used to have the camera set a lot closer, so this is actually a bit harder now than when I was designing it. Yeah.
Oh, and you got sniped in midair by one of your projectiles.
And that's about as far as I've kind of got with this level right now.
Well, I gotta say, you've got a strong sense of visual style. It's working for you, and challenging, which
Definitely
no Calvert
challenging.
level is going to be without, but manageable to a degree. Within reason.
It makes the level I did in Little Big Planet 1 was just brutal. If anyone played it and it's gone now, so you'll never be able to play it again. I'm just going to show this real quick.
Okay.
So you can see here, I've got just a block of wood.
Yep.
And then I've got some things on here. So this chip I've put on here tells it that this block of wood defies gravity.
Oh.
So it can just exist where it is. And then I've got a controlinator, You can see here
Where
I've used
Sackboy
it-
can hop into.
Yeah, and so I've used it to map buttons here.
You see the DualShock
Yeah,
represented
and this
right
is
there.
a rotator, which is working in conjunction with the controlinator. And so if I go into play mode real quick, this is basically the beginnings of what eventually I want to make something resembling a Micro Machines.
Top-down racer.
And so this is just a super early kind of just figuring it all out, because I'm still learning how to do this stuff. But yeah, you can see like the basics.
And there you go.
The basics are here, and I'm pretty sure there's a way I could do this actually. Well, there is definitely a way I could do it without having a rocket thruster on the back.
Have a different kind of locomotion.
Yeah, I could actually just have it so that I just move the joystick up, right, left, and down, or whatever.
And it just moves your little race car block.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I kind of like the thruster.
Now, so you've put a bunch of hours into, not just this one, but Little Big Planet, and you find, do you find it sort of reasonably easy to get started? Do you find you're learning as you go? Are the tutorials helpful? Just sort of a general impression on how easy is this all to accomplish?
The tutorials are, a lot of them are still very much the same as those in the first game. They've obviously added new tutorials for all of the new tools and objects and things that you can use. They do a good job, but there are definitely some omissions. Like there's some things that maybe it would be nice if they explained, and they don't. And yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I've actually kind of learned more just by playing around and
just by doing
things, and just kind of figuring stuff out for myself a little bit.
Very cool, Justin. Well, thanks so much for showing that off. Anything you want to mention before we close this demo off?
No, only that this, obviously it comes out next Tuesday. We're hoping to have a review up, hopefully end of this week.
Great.
And just while you're closing, I am going to jump in a camel and shoot stuff.
And that will send us home.
One of the story levels.
Wow, we need to get one quick shot of this, man, because camel blasting.
So now
Oh, wow. Well, there you have it, folks. Little Big Planet 2, 2011's in the running for 2011 Camel Mouth Blaster of the Year. And thanks to Justin Calvert for coming and showing off his hard-earned handiwork. And now, on with the show.
Thanks for that, Justin. It's looking much better than your level from Little Big Planet 1, I have to say. Now it's time for trivia. This week we are giving away 6 copies of the Dragon Age 2 Signature Edition, and Chris is here with a trivia question for you.
Name the 2 movie references from Shaun McInnis' first preview of Dragon Age 2. If you think you know the answer, use the module on the side of the page to send it in, or shoot us an email with your answer and name to onthespot@gamespot.com. And with that, we come to the end of our show, folks. Thank you so much for joining us here. Now, if you haven't caught up on the latest that CES had to offer, be sure to check the site for all our comprehensive coverage there, as well as hot news out of Japan about the 3DS.
Yeah, the details of the Japanese launch lineup, including some crazy 3D dinosaur fighting game. I am sold.
Dinosaur fights, battery life, pricing point, and the whole launch lineup in Japan. It's all there on the site. Go check it out, folks. Now for everyone here in the GameSpot studios, I'm Chris Waters.
I'm Caro Pettit.
And y'all have a great week. So, without further ado, I am going to say without further ado again, and maybe we can just take this part of the toss again.
Now it's time for trivia, and this week we are giving away 6 copies of the Dragon Age 2 Signature Edition.
That's right!